Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinars. 5 ways to continuously improve your public speaking. A lot of people move from that position of fear. Human beings' number one fear is public speaking, to doing public speaking. But how do we become good at public speaking? But once we become good, not become complacent and continue improving our public speaking skills, the ability to engage, to influence, to make a difference through the spoken word. Continuous improvement is in many aspects of our lives, in terms of our career, in terms of efficiency, in terms of productivity, in terms of reducing waste, continuous improvement. So why not adopt a continuous improvement mindset towards your public speaking? Morning, everyone. Peter Dew is my name, public speaking trainer and coach. My passion, helping you become effective, confident, and influential every time you get before a group of people. 5, 10, 500, it doesn't matter. I want you to make a difference through your spoken word. So welcome. 5 ways to continuously improve your public speaking. Let's start by how to participate in the webinar. Feel free to ask questions as we go. Type in the chat box, type in the question box, put in your own comments. You may have strategies to improve your public speaking that I'm unaware of that you could share with me, and think about your own circumstances. Is there anything you're going to do different moving forward that will help you continuously improve your public speaking as a result of this webinar? So my aim is to give you some tips that you can use, and your feedback around that would be valuable and appreciated. All right. Why consider continuously improving public speaking? I went to school, I learned to speak, I speak at meetings at work. Why do I need to continuously improve in your public speaking? There's a few ideas that I have. First of all, I am a lifelong learner. Most people I know talk about the value of lifelong learning. And just because you've done one speech and it went okay, doesn't mean there's not room for improvement. And the myth of the perfect presentation, perfect public speaking, I think is true. I haven't seen or heard that perfect presentation yet. I've seen some really good ones, but most speakers I talk to are looking for that little bit of improvement as they go. Lifelong learning. If you're good at public speaking, you're better serving your audience. So those people who need to hear your message. And the only reason we stand up and public speak is because we have a message, we have an idea, we have something we want to share with our clients, our customers, our community, our mob. If you're good at public speaking, you will better serve your audience. If you're terrible at public speaking, not so good at public speaking, your audience may turn off, which means you will be less influential. So growing your public speaking skills step by step also increases your ability to influence. Not only as you master stagecraft, nonverbal communication, you get your nerves under control, but you craft your message from the perspective of the audience and you become more influential. And that's generally why we speak, because we want people to do something, or we want people to know something, or we want people to feel something. And if we don't influence people, then by definition, we're just hot air. We're speaking and we're having no impact, and nobody wants to do that. It's how we demonstrate leadership. Whether we like it or not, people perceive us as leadership material, as effective leaders, through observing us in the spoken word. We see our politicians on television. That is public speaking. Some of them do really well, some of them do less well. And finally, my firm belief is what you have to say matters, and getting your message across, being influential, demonstrating your leadership, through effective, confident, and influential public speaking is important. So continuous improvement helps you get what you have to say across to your audience, because your knowledge, your experience, your ideas, your creativity, that matters. So that's why I encourage you to embark on not only becoming a confident public speaker and good at it, but keep incrementally improving. So how might we continually improve our public speaking? Get feedback. Get feedback from someone in the room, a colleague, a trusted friend. Often I speak at conferences and I don't know anyone, but there's always that early bird who gets there first, and you're there prepping, trying to get ready, and you meet that first person. Feel free to say to them, hey, really nice to meet you. Glad you're coming to my session. I'd really value your feedback on how my presentation goes in two ways. Number one, how valuable was the message to you? And number two, what do you think I did well as a public speaker? And of course, the third question would be anything you would offer me to take it up to the next level. And sometimes we get these amazing gems from people that we don't even know, that we give permission to give us feedback. One person pointed out to me that my thinking pose, my fingers over my lips when I'm thinking, yeah, this is a good thinking pose, hides my lips, and they, as a lip reader, couldn't understand what I was saying. So here's my new thinking pose. Get feedback from someone else. The reason it's important is because often what we think as we're doing, what we think's happening, is not the reality of the audience. And often it's good news, because you may feel that you're drowning, that you're dying, that you're doing a terrible job. That was an absolute disaster. And the audience says, Peter, that was really valuable. Thank you for that. That was really good. And our own feedback gets caught up in that self-doubt, that imposter syndrome. So I'd rather get feedback from someone in the room, how it's impacted on them, what I could do better, what worked, what could I change? Because after all, my presentation is for my audience. This webinar today is for you. Another way to embrace your continuous improvement is to get a coach or a mentor to help you. And of course, one of the things I do is I am a professional speaking coach. And I help people get ready for conference presentations, for wedding speeches, for TEDx presentations. I help people overcome their fear. So a coach is someone who specifically has the skills and gives you the tips and the tools in the area of public speaking. There are a lot of public speaking coaches out there. And why wouldn't you invest in your continuous improvement? Why wouldn't you invest in becoming a better public speaker? And then there's the mentor. So those people who maybe are now moved up into leadership, maybe your boss, maybe a supervisor, maybe someone in another organization who you admire, and they can mentor you on the journey to being a more confident public speaker. And with a mentor or a coach, you can invite them to come to a presentation. If you have weekly updates, weekly meetings, weekly toolbox meetings, project updates, and your coach or mentor is one of those team members, they're going to see your speaking, your presentation on a weekly basis, and they'll be able to comment on incremental changes and maybe recommend things that you could do to slightly take it up the next level for that slight improvement. One thing with strangers, people you ask to give feedback, be wary, be careful of those unsolicited feedback. If I go back one slide, get feedback from someone in the room, that's someone you've spoken to, that's someone you've asked, that's someone you've briefed beforehand. There is the other person in the room who comes up and says, oh, yeah, really loved your presentation. But what I noticed was that you do a little Irish dance and you move around from one side to the other and it's quite distracting. Be aware of those unsolicited feedback. In that instance, I would probably take that on board. But someone else might say, look, I notice you've spoken about this area. I disagree. I think you should be speaking about that. Just be wary of unsolicited feedback. You don't need to necessarily take that feedback on board or agree with it. With your coach, you're generally paying your coach. With your mentor, it's probably a workplace agreement. It's someone you trust and who's agreeing to do that without that financial contract, although there are paid mentors as well. The next strategy, video yourself. Video yourself, and then you can do some self-coaching. The video does not lie. So as you look at yourself in the video, you can count your ums and ahs. You can see those little Irish dances, those little movements that might be distracting. You'll notice the distracting, bouncy hand gestures that don't mean anything at all, as if you're conducting an orchestra and you bounce your hands up and down. You will notice all of those things in your video and you'll be able to do some self-coaching and gradually improve. And you can video yourself for a live presentation, or you can video your practice sessions. This is a Zoom meeting. This Zoom meeting is being recorded. I can do this without doing it as a webinar. I can just start a Zoom session with just myself. You'll notice I'm standing up. So I can practice that conference speech that I've got coming up in Malaysia towards the end of May. I can practice that. I can time it. I've got a 15-minute keynote in front of 200 plus people. I can then play the video back. I can listen to the content. I can look at my nonverbal communication. I can ensure that my eye contact is effective. And I can pretend it's a bigger room so I can make eye contact all around the room rather than just down the barrel of the camera. And I get to self-coach and work on my presentation by reviewing that video. Most people have a mobile phone that has a camera. Hand your mobile phone over to a colleague, to a friend, that first person who arrived early, if you trust them. Could you just record my presentation? Get a little tripod and stand your phone off to the side and just press record, and then you start your presentation. No one even needs to know you're recording. The recording's of you, not of the audience. So you don't need any video release. It's just yourself. The video is really powerful. One caution here. If you are video recording and then self-coaching, my recommendation is that you disassociate yourself from the person in the video. So you're now an impartial observer looking at that person, seeing what they're doing. Disassociate yourself from the person in the video. Otherwise, you will start to become self-critical. Has my beard really turned that grey in the last 12 months? Look, my weight loss program's not going as well as I want. Be impartial. Don't look at Peter Dew. Look at the speaker What did the speaker do well? What could the speaker do differently? Otherwise, you get trapped in that, that looking at yourself and thinking, oh, I don't like the sound of my voice. I don't like the look of my white beard, or whatever that may be. Self-coach yourself through video, but please don't be too critical of the person. Just look at the speaker and try and come up with 5 things they've done well, and maybe 1 or at the most 2 things you would recommend that speaker to do differently. Study other speakers. Lifelong learning. I went to the CEO Institute conference in Perth about 4 weeks ago, and I went purely to watch other keynote speakers. There were some university lecturers, some academics, and there were some motivational speakers, and there were some successful business owners. And the different styles were quite interesting. The university professor kind of lectured to us. Didn't leave the lectern, stayed behind the lectern, a lot of PowerPoint slides, a lot of information on the PowerPoint slides, and typical university lecture. The motivational speaker used the stage, moved around, told stories, and was very engaging. So I went to that CEO Institute annual convention in Perth, not because I'm a CEO, not because I want to learn to be a CEO. I want to learn and improve my public speaking. One person had great humor. Humor's not my forte, but I try to improve my humor every time I do a presentation. So by studying other speakers, I can pick out the gems that they're doing well. I can observe the faux pas, the platform mechanics, the techniques that are not up to current speed, and just check that I'm not doing them myself. Yeah, go to conferences, go to other speakers and see what they do. The 5th one is use artificial intelligence. AI. AI is here. AI is changing the way we do business. AI is certainly here to stay and will grow. So there's several AI apps out there, but there's 2 that I think you can use to continuously improve your public speaking. The first one is called Udely.ai. Udely.ai. What you can do with Udely.ai is you can import a video. So once you've recorded yourself, you can decide, I don't want to self-coach. Import the video to Udely, and Udely AI will provide you with coaching notes. It will count your ums and ahs. It will look for extraneous words, obviously, basically. Basically what we have here basically is misunderstanding, and basically what I want moving forward basically is to not let that happen basically again. Actually, when you think about some words that we actually say, they actually don't mean much. And actually, I'd make more sense actually if I didn't actually use the word actually. Extraneous words, it counts them and it lists them. It checks your pace, too fast, too slow. Your style, business, conversational, academic. It'll tell whether you're using gender neutral language or whether it's predominantly male dominated language or female dominated language. Generally, there's another extraneous word, generally, what I want generally is to I like to use gender neutral language. And I say people, I'm trying to eliminate the word guys. Now, what Udely will do, it will give you all those metrics. It'll also create a transcript. So it'll give you all the words that you've just spoken in a document that you can then put into a Word document, and then you can polish it. That is importing a video you've already done. But you can do a practice live Zoom call and invite Udemy to Zoom. So it's now a practice run. Once again, it'll give you all those metrics, the speed, the ums and ahs, the conversational style, the speed you're speaking at, the use of pause, and the transcript that you've now got your written speech. So I tell people, don't write a speech, speak it to Udemy and Udemy will write it for you. Here's another thing Udemy can do. Let's say you're doing a presentation and then you're going to go to question and answer later on at the end of your presentation, Q&A. Udemy will ask you questions based on what you've said. In two ways. It will ask you questions on what you've said at the end of your presentation, or it can interrupt you. So some presenters say questions as we go. If you have any questions, just put your hand up and they allow you to be interrupted, them to be interrupted. Other speakers say, please hold your questions to the end. Udemy will do both of those for you. Udemy will help you with your job interviews. You can ask Udemy to go away and find questions related to a civil engineer working in the mining sector and create a mock interview based on that. So Udemy will ask you the questions, you will speak it, and then you'll get coaching from Udemy as well. Udemy will possibly put me out of business as a public speaking coach, and it is free up to 45 minutes. There's another one called Video Coach. There used to be one called Coach's Eye. Video Coach, you can run two videos side by side. It's mostly for sport. So let's say you've got a baseball swing or you're playing cricket, and it can show a before and after. So you can upload one video that you did, say, 12 months ago, and another video that you have done recently of public speaking, and you can see the difference. So the screen's split and you can see side by side. You can hear the ums and ahs. So you can compare video one, and there was something like 25 ums. Now you compare video two where there's only one or two ums in the entire 15-minute presentation. Video one, you've got this bit of a dance or this sway from side to side. Video two, you're standing upright. So you're looking at that continuous improvement through the video using Video Coach, looking at two videos side by side, and then you take the most recent video and then you do a new one and then you compare once again. Fantastic tools that everyone should be using on the continuous improvement road, the continuous improvement journey to becoming better, more effective public speakers. Any questions, drop them in the chat box, the Q&A, as I move into a summary. One bonus tip for continuous improvement. There are public speaking clubs out there. One is called Toastmasters. The other one is called Rostrum in Perth, in Melbourne, in Adelaide, in Sydney. Toastmasters and Rostrum are where you go once a week, once a fortnight, and you stand up and you practice your public speaking in a public speaking club where there's no consequence of you being nervous, your mind going blank. There's no consequence, just feedback, and you learn and practice at Toastmasters so that when you go to the real world, you're more polished and you've improved your public speaking skills. So in summary, continuous improvement. What you've got to say matters. I believe in lifelong learning, and it's how we demonstrate our leadership through the ability to communicate effectively. How? Get feedback from someone in the room, someone you trust. Be wary of unsolicited feedback. Use a coach or a mentor to help you. Don't be afraid to video yourself. But please, when reviewing video, disassociate yourself from the person in the video. Be an impartial observer of that speaker as they stand up and speak. And of course, you can send that video to your coach or your mentor, who can also give you further feedback. Study other speakers, watch what they do. Even on TV, the Barack Obamas, what they do really well. Use AI. Udemy.ai, speakers coach. Use these tools to help grow your public speaking skills. So what have I got coming up? Karatha in a couple of weeks' time. Difficult conversations, presentation skills, thinking and speaking off the cuff, 15th, 16th, 17th of April. Perth, winning presentation skills, 29th of April, 29th of May. Thinking and speaking off the cuff, 30th of April, that should be 31st of May. Port Hedland in June, 24th of June, assertive communication skills, 26th of June, how to have difficult conversations, winning presentations, 25th, and off the cuff speaking, 27th. Webinars, leveraging the art of vocal variety. We spoke about filler words, ums and ahs, you knows. That is just one aspect of your vocal variety. I also mentioned Udemy counts your pause, the length of pause. These are some of the elements I'm going to talk about in creating your vocal variety. Your voice matters significantly. Your passion, your enthusiasm matter significantly. 6th of May, I'd love to see you on this webinar again, leveraging the art of vocal variety. You know how to reach me. Phone number, email, love your feedback. All right, let's end early. Thanks for your time and participation. Remember, continuous improvement. It's how we grow our public speaking skills. What you've got to say matters. So please always try and work out a strategy. How can I go just the next step? This is Peter Dew, public speaking trainer and coach, wishing you well on your public speaking journey. Thanks, everyone. Bye for now.